No, I didn't.
Dr. Chris is in front, though. Dr. Chris is in front of you. Once again, the world fooled by his blonde hair, blue eyes and love of sick animals.
Moving on, we might not trust politicians, but do we trust the government when it comes to protecting us online? Cybercrime. It's like normal crime, only cyber. And to combat this growing threat, today the government introduced new legislation to crack down on hackers and work more closely with international agencies. It comes as one international group of online outlaws, LulzSec, have hit headlines for their feats of major security breaches in the past month. Over the weekend, they released the passwords for 62,000 email accounts, including some belonging to the Victorian government and various Australian universities. They're the same group that hacked Sony's PlayStation network and America's PBS News website, posting an article claiming Tupac was alive and living in New Zealand. They even took down the CIA website last week and bragged about it on Twitter. In fact, it seems the only site LulzSec can't take down is Channel 9's, if you know what I mean. So with foreign government security agencies unable to protect themselves, will our own government's new cybercrime legislation actually make Australians any safer online? Please welcome our favourite online guru, Colin Jacobs, back to the project. Now, Colin, hacking the CIA website, that is massive and presumably quite naughty. Why do hackers hack?
Well, there's a variety of motivations these guys have. At one end of the spectrum, you have the so-called white hat hackers who are doing it as a public service to show that there are security problems out there that people should be aware of. The other end, you have black hat hackers who are basically organised criminals who do it for a living, and cybercrime is now worth more than the narcotics trade. In the middle, you've got grey hats. They do it not out of public good, but to show that they can, to have some laughs and to do a bit of vandalism. And that's probably where this CIA hack fits in the picture.
Will today's legislation by the government stop these hackers? How will it make Australians safer?
Well, it's debatable. That this is the first step to joining onto an international convention on cybercrime, so a treaty. That will make it a little bit easier to cooperate with countries around the world. The legislation means that service providers have to keep information when asked to by the police in case they can use it to investigate a crime. Whether it'll keep you safer is debatable. It may make it a little bit easier to catch these criminals after the fact.
Colin, I'm a simple man, but something's bothering me about this. If our internet providers are keeping more of our information online, doesn't that simply mean we're more at risk of a cyber attack?
Well, that's the catch, right? If you open up the networks for police to investigate the crimes, then you've made more openings that hackers can exploit. And if you're gathering data about people and their communications to use in investigating crimes, then you've made a whole new database that could be a target for the criminals. So there's definitely a trade-off there.
I'm less of a simple man than Andrew Rochford. I'm curious to know, how does one learn to hack? Colin, do you know how to hack? Well, look, are you a hacker?
I only use my powers for good, as you well know, although, Charlie, your computer's a bit of a shocking state at the moment. But at one end, you can become a so-called script kiddie. You can go on the internet, download some tools, fire them off and become an instant hacker. You'll probably get caught and you won't get a lot of respect. But anybody who knows about network security understands hacking because that's what you're defending against. So the knowledge is out there. It's really a matter of motivation.
Colin, with all these websites being hacked, are websites really just focused on making as much as they can from keeping our details, but not spending enough on making sure the websites are secure?
Well, look, companies are like people. Some of them are lazy, some of them are incompetent, and some of them are cheap, and so they don't invest as much as they should in keeping our data safe. On the other hand, companies like banks or PayPal, eBay that deal with money, they have to invest very heavily because they're under attack 24 hours a day by organised crime. So we will still see these hacks happening, but it's a constant arms race.
Well, Colin, I'm going to sleep a little safer knowing that you are on the case, at least to some degree. Thanks for talking to us tonight.
Thanks, guys.